Alright, 0.7, the last lesson of the chapter. For example 1, we have to describe and correct the error. Okay, what happened here? Well, they canceled out the 6's. Alright, but you can't do that. What is the mistake? The 6's are not, you could say, dividable. Or the 6's can't cancel. And you could just say the expression cannot be simplified. Alright, that's all there is to that. Going on to the next example. Alright, insert the required factor in the parentheses. Okay, so here I have 7/10. What are we pulling out? We're just pulling out the x squared. That's it. Just factoring that up. Already done with part A. Alright, for part B. Okay, let's see what's going on here. What are we factoring out? Well, we have an x here. There's the x there. This is all the same. But we have a -4 here. We're supposed to just have a 1 in front of the x. So what would you have to do to -4 in order for it to turn into 1? You would multiply by -1/4. Alright, so that's what goes in the parentheses. Alright, -1/4 times -4, that's 1, and that takes us back to where we started. Going on to the next example. Write the expression using negative exponents. Okay, what are we going to do here? Well, all we have to do is take this x here, which has an exponent of 1, and I could bring it into the numerator position by changing its exponent, just as I can with this binomial. So I'm going to have x plus 1, and I'll bring this piece to the top, so it's times x to the -1 power. Bring this piece to the top, and then it's times 6 minus x to the -1/2 power. So what you're doing is simply writing an expression that is not a fraction. All right, whenever they ask you to write an expression using negative exponents. All right, that's all there is to this example. On to the next. Write the fraction as a sum of 2 or more terms. Okay, well here we have this common denominator essentially, because I could apply it to all 3 terms above. Break this expression up into the sum of 3 fractions. Alright, and I will just simplify now. So I could cancel out 2 x's on the bottom with 2 on top, leaving me with 1x. Cancel out 2 x's on top, 2 x's on the bottom, leaving me with -5. And can't do anything with the third term, we're just left with 4 over x squared. And that's all there is to this problem. On to the next. Okay, this one's a bit of a challenge, but it's not that difficult. Alright, first thing we're going to do is do a little multiplying here. Let's simplify what we have up here for this first term. Let's make it look a little less complicated. So we have -6 x to the 6th times x squared plus 1 to the -4th power minus 5x to the 4th times x squared plus 1 to the -3 power. Alright, it's all over x to the 10th power. Okay, when working with a problem like this, you have to ask yourself, we have a common binomial here. And what is the smallest exponent? That would be -4. -4 is less than -3. Okay, so I'm going to factor out the x squared plus 1 to the -4th power. Then I have x to the 4th. Here I have 6 x's. I need to pull out 4 x's. Alright, and that's all I could really factor out. So what's left over? What are you going to multiply this by to get this? Okay, well, let's see. I have, oh man, this looks terrible here. Okay, so I have 4x's here. I need 2 more. There's a -6 here. There's nothing here. So I need a -6 there. And that's it. Okay? So this times this gives me this. All right, next part. This times what gives me that? Well, it's going to be, I have -5 in there. I already have 4x's. I'm going to need a x squared plus 1 as well. -4 plus what gives me -3? That's just 1. All right, and that's the most difficult part. So we're done with that. I have x to the 10th on the bottom. All right, now that I did the factoring, you could do a little canceling. Cancel out the x to the 4th with 4x's on the bottom, leaving me with 6x's. I'm going to take this whole piece here that has a negative exponent, I'm going to bring it down to the denominator position, make the exponent positive. I'm also going to distribute right here. Since this is just to the first power, I could do that. And don't forget this part. Alright, almost done. So simplifying, I have -11x squared minus 5 over x to the 6th times x squared plus 1 to the 4th power. Alright, you could just as well represent your answer like this. You could factor out the negative from this binomial here. So you have the negative right next to the division symbol, and you would have 11x squared plus 5. And then you have x to the 6th times x squared plus 1. Alright, so either answer is fine. I'm not picky about that. Alright, that's it for the last lesson. Make sure to ask any questions. And get started on the lesson at the bottom of the webpage.